Hey everyone, Insanity here. I am playing the Twisted Metal 4 Remastered DLC for Smash and Crash, which was created by Null Reference Exception, and I'd like to extend a huge thanks to Null for not only creating this game, but also spending the better part of several weeks since releasing this game last month, updating the game with the feedback that I provided him. I played the game extensively and provided 2 lists of feedback, and this new update that he released has implemented a lot of the feedback I suggested to improve the game. Of course, this game is still in early access, so some of the jank and issues are to be expected, but I'm not going to diminish the fact that Null spent 2-3 years on this. This was a passion project of his, and Twisted Metal 4 was his favorite Twisted Metal game, so I definitely greatly appreciated his efforts and dedication. Alright, so one of the suggestions that I gave to him was to improve Moon Buggies and Sweet Tooth specials, because they didn't really behave like the original versions where they would stick to the target the entire time and damage them the whole time. The individual components of the special keep flying around and doing their own thing, so that made them not be able to do much damage to the special overall, and therefore they were greatly diminished as fun vehicles to play as well as threats as a boss. But if you've seen my Sweet Tooth video that I just uploaded after this update, then you can clearly see what a huge difference it makes having these special properly stick to the target. So Sweet Tooth is now overpowered again, and I want to see how Moon Buggy is turning out. There's a bunch of other balancing of stuff that Null did with the different vehicles, but for now let's just go ahead and see how Moon Buggy is going to turn out. Let me just take a glance at the controls again. So this was also the second thing I suggested to Null. Actually, I suggested this to Null as early as the very first feedback list, which was to have customizable controls. Customizable controls were an aspect of Twisted Metal 4 as well as Twisted Metal 3, and this is a PC game, so naturally I would think that customizable inputs or keybinds would be kind of a given. I did get used to the initial handling of the game, which would be based more off of a racing type game or a driving simulator, but just having customizable controls was a godsend, especially for the one feature. Where is it? Wasn't? Oh yes, the fire secondary weapon backwards. This, you can rear fire your weapon in this game without having to use energy, but the default button for this was to hold down R3, which is also to have the camera pointing back to your back. So that made things kind of awkward, not to mention I am a little wary of pushing down on the analog stick for any kind of function, especially after playing Call of Duty back then and busting the L3 and R3 and the analog sticks overall on my PS4 controller and PS3 controller. So I definitely would like to have the option to change the rear fire to something that is not going to pose a casualty on my analog sticks. And also now I can see here I actually had it reversed, the targeting system, which is another feature that Null implemented after I told him that the homing weapons were not properly locking on to your intended targets. He added this option to this update, so now there's a targeting system. You can either auto-target your enemy, which means that you're at the mercy of whoever it is that the game thinks are locked onto, and that would make using homing weapons a bit awkward. Or it can manually lock on to your intended target, and that will ensure that things like lightning, for instance, will be able to target the same vehicle or enemy, and you can kill the enemy with 2 lightnings instead of having it go towards a different target. But I had it reversed. I thought the red was a locked on target and the white was the all target, but it's actually backwards. So now I know. That's why I came to a screen. And I've been yapping on long enough. Let me go back here and start a game. Alright, we have Hammerhead, and Hammerhead's a big target, so I think we can... You don't need... Unless they have me stuck on here, so I guess I'll just have to use Quasars. Oh, I forgot to include the feedback on the typo. Quasars, someone said that Quasars is supposed to be spelled with a instead of an E, and I said I was going to put that in the feedback list, but I completely forgot to do that. So that'll go on to the next list if I need to make a huge one. I'm going to go ahead and grab Lightning. For those who play Twisted Metal 4 extensively, then this area is completely new and was not there in the original Twisted Metal 4. I just find it dandy because the original Twisted Metal 4 didn't have a lightning pickup in the construction yard. The environmental weapon is the crane, which I should probably give that a shot and see how that goes. Noel said that he corrected the crane, but I haven't looked at the patch notes properly, so I'm going to have to see what that actually looks like. But yeah, we can see the targeting in action, and it's very handy. Not to mention, you also get to view the enemy health bar, so you don't have the game constantly shifting the enemy health bar views. Okay, I guess the crane is still not exactly working the way I would like. Okay, so you can go with the auto target, but then once you switch to manual target, then the homing weapon is going to target the manual targeting enemy. Is this how you're supposed to do it? Interesting. Okay, so I'm not sure why I keep getting booted out of the crane, but at least I know it works now. Unfortunately, given the way the AI behaves in this game, probably not very helpful. Let me just see if... Okay, so... Alright, so the crane is a little finicky. I'm not really sure how to get this to work properly. But I definitely didn't press the interact button, which is on my PS4 controller, square. Alright, bye-bye, Crusher. You're done for, trash man. Alright. I don't remember if Moon Buggy Special is supposed to be as strong as Sweet Tooth, but I'm pretty sure in the original Twisted Metal 4 Moon Buggy special was not as strong as Sweet 2's. It was still very powerful, no doubt about it, but alright. I'm hoping that Null implements specials for all the cars that still don't have them. So his primary focus when he made the remaster was to obviously implement all the Twisted Metal 4 originated vehicles first before considering any others. So for the vehicles that did not originate in Twisted Metal 4, such as Outlaw and Warthog, if any of the existing Twisted Metal 4 originated vehicles had specials that were similar to those vehicles, then Null would just copy over the special to the non-originated Twisted Metal 4 vehicles. So the Joneses had Patriot missiles, so that was easy implementation for Warthog. But there are still some vehicles that don't have specials, so that would include Club Kid, Hammerhead here, Twister. Who else? I think it's just those three that still don't have specials. So yeah, hopefully Null gets around to implementing the specials for the vehicles that still don't have them. I have deliberately put off of doing a Twister or Hammerhead playthrough for this reason. Quattro, I'm going after you first. Alright, looks like Moon Buggy's firing positioning for his weapons is elevated, so that would mean that he's going to be missing on smaller targets. I guess that's another to add to the feedback list. Alright, I should have tried Massive Attack. Alright, looks like Massive Attack is finally working. I told Null that it wasn't working initially, and he mentioned in the patch notes in the update, for the first update, that it should now be working, but it still didn't work, so now it's properly working. I can see that. Oh, okay, looks like you carry over your energy status from the previous level, so now I have no energy to work with. Not really a problem though. There's a reason Null implemented energy pickups, so I can just get back the energy here. Alright, stop bothering me. Alright, better stop locking on. Let me see if I can teleport here. Yep, sweet. The hyperspace in this game rather specifically, instead of teleporting you to the same center of the map, it will now just teleport you anywhere. I don't think the positioning is fixed, which is helpful mainly for the enemies, since they tend to get stuck a lot, as you can see here. So if they were to constantly just warp back to the center of the map, then that's going to be a problem for them. Anyone who is familiar with Road Rage knows that this particular area never existed, and it contains lightning pickups, so that's pretty handy. Now you have two places of lightning pickups. I think Road Rage, actually no, I forgot. Carnival is, in this game, Carnival is the other place that has 2 lightning pickups, which I'm pretty sure was not the case for the original Carnival. But yeah, if you intend to do a speed run, well, Road Rage, there's our speedrun strat for Road Rage. Alright, target. I really hope that Null gets around to implementing more unique AI. I also suggested a difficulty selector for him. Yep, definitely going to need to have his Moon Buggy's weapon positioning lowered so that he's not overshooting targets. Targeting RC car? Where is he? Goodbye, Microblast. I also forgot to mention, this was another update, another feedback I gave to Null, which was the shield. Change the visual on the shield, which initially it provided you a white covering, which made it somewhat difficult to distinguish between a shielded state and a frozen state. So Null changed it so that the energy shield provides a yellow/gold coating, which makes it closer to the original Twisted Metal 4, which had a gold coating for the shield. So that's one thing here. Alright, another update or another feedback I gave to Null was to correct the pickups on Amazonia, because it was missing pickups in specific parts of the map. Okay, Pizza Boy, stop it. They're getting in my way. Yeah, let me go. So the lightning area on top of the temple, there was no lightning here. There was also no Autolob, no Merv, and no Rain 2. It was just a full health and a mortar. But now the pickups are here, just like how they're supposed to be from the original Twisted Metal 4 Amazonia. And in this secret area, I think there was just a proximity, a freeze remote, and a remote, and ricochet. Actually, no. The only thing that was missing in this area was a Rain 2 missile, and there's 2 Rain 2 missiles, so that's pretty cool. Stop bothering me, Twister. How are you doing, Axel? Alright, so that's another feedback I gave to Null, which was to change the bombardments on the rain missiles, the all-lob, and the MIRVs to be more distinct. So the MIRV still shoots green missiles, but for the rain and rain 2s, they now shoot fireballs, and the all-lob now shoots mortars, which that's how they're supposed to be in the original Twisted Metal 4, but for this game, Null had them all shoot green missiles, so I just told him to change it to make them behave more like the original from a visual standpoint. Alright, that was easy. Now I'm not sure if Null took notice of this if he ever went back to play this map or play test this map, but the torches here, they have a collision, and he either no, yeah, they still exist, so it was possible to get stuck on these torches. Like if you just even got underneath it, there was no real way to get out of it. So I don't know if it was something that Null noticed, but this was something that I was originally going to give feedback on until I played the game on the first update. And when I ran into these torches, I didn't get stuck on them, so I was like, I wonder if Null actually noticed that before. So at least that was one bullet point off the list that I didn't have to bring up. I actually can't remember if there was a full health on this map in the original. Because normally on Minion's Maze in the original, you would just use the rear attack lightning exploit to finish it, and health wouldn't really be an issue. But if there was no full health, then honestly, this full health definitely never existed from the original. Just spawn camping the lightning. If I can actually get to it without falling like that. The handling is still a bit awkward, but I do think that we have a good middle point between Twisted Metal 3 and Twisted Metal 4 physics. So we have a little more of Twisted Metal 4's arcadey type handling, so you can actually turn much more swiftly. But there's also still some of that driving simulator aspect from Twisted Metal 3. We're gonna go after Rob first because Minion's very easy to take care of. Okay, never mind. I take that back. Let me go after Minion. If I can just lock onto him and see where he is. Unless... Alright. Where are you, Minion? There you are. Okay. You only live long enough to see to your demise just for a few seconds. Oh, I probably should have included this in the feedback, but I'm not sure if there's any particular reason why the oil rig takes this long to load. I don't think that would be on purpose, but you never know. And stop bothering me now. Alright, so there was a feedback I gave to Null on this level, and that was to include teleporters that were missing from the original version of Oil Rig. The first version of Oil Rig, when this game released, was missing teleporters in certain areas, and after the first update, it was just missing this one teleporter in the secret area with the lightning. So that was the one feedback I gave. Right, yeah, I'll just use it, whatever. I don't know if anyone saw my Sweet Tooth video, but oh yeah, you can clip through it. I fell out on... Oh. Yeah, I fell out of the secret area. Looks like it wasn't quite ironclad, the walls here. Oh, I'm using my bombardments from this distance, and Auger is actually on the lower level. Alright, we're in the home stretch. Is that gonna lock on? Yep, to outlaw. Although Null has faithfully recreated the levels from Twisted Metal 4 in this game, I think it's interesting that Carnival is the one that he decided to modify, because this fire pit in the center is, well, it's not a fire pit anymore, it's now this elevated platform, with the fire now being far more of a hazardous threat, since it's very easy for the enemy to get into it. Alright. Well, Sweet Tooth is no longer an issue. But let me see how its special goes against me. Alright, so it's 6 of you, but it looks like it's easier to outrun, at least compared to the original Twisted Metal 4 henchmen. But yeah, so that is the game, and this is after the second update, which made the game much better. I am looking forward to future updates of this game, and I hope that Null will add more vehicles and levels to the game soon. After the first feedback list I gave to Null, he did ask me what kind of vehicle I would like for inclusion in this game, and the first one I mentioned, the first one I was thinking of was Twisted Metal 2 Darktooth, but understandably I took that back, because Darktooth, if he were to be taken into this game, well, mostly levels and Twisted Metal 4 don't really support his kind of size. So won't really be able to enjoy Darktooth in Twisted Metal 4 unless Null decides to go the route of Twisted Metal Black or Twisted Metal Head On or Twisted Metal Small Brawl and shrink Darktooth down to be able to fit in the levels. But instead of Darktooth, I decided to go with Twisted Metal 3's Primeval because he's my second favorite boss character, and I was curious on what Null's take on him would be, given that we have a version of him, a version of Primeval in Angel's Twisted Metal 5 fan game. So at least that's one vehicle I would hope Null will include in the future. Of course, he doesn't have to work on it right away, especially if he intends to work on the features in his roadmap, which there's plenty, and I think those are going to be really awesome once they're implemented. So take your time, and whatever updates come by, I will be sure to cover them. So for now, that's a gameplay and commentary. Hope you enjoyed it, and Insanity is out.